Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Peace be with you. Dear sisters, dear brothers in Christ, my dear friends, whenever we gather together to celebrate this Mass in thanksgiving for religious life in our Archdiocese, we truly come together not only as friends, but as family here. And we give thanks today for the witness of so many religious men and women over many years as we celebrate together with our jubilarians.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
With the coming of evening, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us cross over to the other side." And leaving the crowd behind, they took him just as he was in the boat, and there were other boats with them. Then it began to blow again, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that it was almost swamped. But he was in the stern, his head on the cushion, asleep. They woke him and said to him, "Master, do you not care? We are going down." And he woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Quiet now, be calm." And the wind dropped, and all was calm again. Then he said to them, "Why are you so frightened? How is it that you have no faith?" They were filled with awe and said to one another, "Who can this be? Even the wind and the sea obey him." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Self-included, to go on pilgrimage to the Holy Land. I bet many of us, as we heard that Gospel, were taken back to that moment. If your pilgrimage was anything like mine, you are taking out to the middle of Galilee, and then, having read that very same Gospel, they cut the engines and you simply bob in the stillness and silence of that moment. And those of you who have been there, those of you who are lucky enough to have been to the Holy Land, will recognize that self-same experience of the stillness, provided you have a good weather day in the middle of Galilee. But what does that story say to us, perhaps particularly on a day like today when we gather from our different communities, our different gifts and charisms? What does this story have to say to us? Well, let me explore it by just simply reflecting upon three unique aspects of that story. Firstly, the disciples panic and Jesus sleeps. Now, I used to tell myself and imagine that what that meant was that Jesus had some sort of inner peace and calm, perhaps what the modern world would refer to as karma. You know, he trusts his Father implicitly, and of course he does, so therefore, why not just snooze on? But I wonder, perhaps at least one of the reasons that Jesus sleeps is much simpler than that. He's tired. He's exhausted. He is human after all. And we get some sense in the Gospels of how the people, the crowds, sought Jesus, particularly in the Galilee region. In fact, particularly in Mark, you get this sense of a dynamism. We must move on, for there is much to do. Perhaps those of us who are particularly busy, and that will resonate with many of us, can reflect that Jesus himself too knew what it is to need to rest, to sleep, to wind down after a very exhausting period of his ministry. And if Jesus himself needed to rest, then perhaps one of the things he is telling us in this story is that we need to be people who provide space for rest as well. And indeed, let me suggest that any of us who often find the work hard, unrewarding, perhaps we are the ones in particular who need to learn from Jesus, who could take full advantage of the opportunity presented to him and rest his head on the cushion in the stern of the boat. So perhaps the first thing the Lord offers us in this story, far from it being just a wonderful miracle, is an invitation, particularly if there is anybody here who finds themselves worn down, weary, tired, to share it with the Lord, who I guess, from what we have just heard, knew exactly that same feeling. But secondly, Jesus is slow to respond. The disciples say, don't just sleep there. Do something. And certainly, as we have heard this morning, there are certain issues that we face that demand an instant response. But I wonder as well whether one of the gifts that the religious life has to offer the church, and indeed the world, is to resist that instant culture. I don't know if any of you have ever used Amazon Prime Now, but in many ways it's symptomatic of how we live in the world today, in that I could right now take out my mobile phone and order something, and in less than 2 hours it would be delivered to my door. Jesus, of course, is fully in control of the situation, but there is a message, perhaps, in that he waits to respond. Because certainly in the spiritual life, when we wait, then we give God the space that he needs to reveal himself more fully to us. Jumping ahead slightly, but tomorrow I will reflect perhaps that part of the gift of Simeon and Anna is that they have waited a long time. In fact, love is what causes us to wait, because it gives the other thing or person the space needed to become what they truly are. When the disciples shake Jesus and say, "Do you not care?" I often often wonder if they had a bucket in their hand that they were offering to him, saying, "Help us, start to bail out the water, make yourself useful," to force the hand of God. And yet, perhaps part of the gift of the religious life, particularly perhaps those of you whose charism is more contemplative, is to remind the instant world of the power of waiting and giving the other person, or indeed God, the space to be who he is, and indeed to do something completely new. And then finally, let me reflect upon that moment when Jesus tells the Galilee Sea to be quiet, to be calm, to be still. At one level, yes, it is a miracle. But I also wonder whether there's something much deeper going on in that story that indeed carries resonances for us in this year of the Word. As you will have heard this morning, my favourite means of transport is a bicycle, and on an almost daily basis I cycle past Bartley Green Reservoir. If you live in Birmingham, your water comes from my parish. However, the children from my school get taken on trips, and just the thought of this makes my blood run cold, because if you know the reservoir, underneath it are all sorts of corridors and tunnels. The children are fascinated by it, but just the thought of being taken on a tour underneath the reservoir with all those thousands and millions of gallons of water over my head brings out a kind of primordial fear. A fear of nothingness, a fear of annihilation, not just drowning, but the fear of chaos. And I wonder, when Jesus speaks that word over the waters, be calm, be still, far from it just being an instruction to the storm that's taking place, it is the reassurance that as the word was there and spoken and fashioned the earth and the sea and the night and the day, at the dawn of creation, God said, and it was good. So, Jesus reveals himself to be the Word made flesh, who not only calms the Sea of Galilee, but actually brings order out of the deepest of chaos. Those of you whose lives are busy, Jesus today invites you to rest, to offer your weariness to him, because that sleep on that day tells us very surely that as much as he was fully God, he was fully man and knew the weariness of a busy apostolate. Those of you whose charism and gift is one of contemplation, your gift to the church is immeasurable, because it reminds us who very much are involved in busy, active vineyards that the best things in the spiritual life come from waiting upon God. And all of us, with the many challenges we face, and we have heard of those indeed this morning in our powerful speech from Father Martin. Yes, Jesus is the Word made flesh, and his word will bring order out of the chaos that often seems to beset us. It is his word that saves us and sets us free.
behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb.